I think, and we are live that quick. Good morning. It's Robert Peterson. How are you, sir?
I am fantastic, Lisa. Thank you for inviting me to have this conversation.
Oh, this is always so fun. Now, I was on your show. I like how we call them shows like we've got shows.
Absolutely, we've
I,
got shows.
yes, it's awesome. And we talked about me, I guess, because I was the guest, but you didn't tell me. You should have said, I'm fascinating. You should, because you got like this fascinating life, like way more than me. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. So the thing I wanted to start with is uh, you were in the Marines?
Yes, I was.
How long were you in?
Just 4 years. I did my initial contract, and it was time to go back. But
That's enough.
I had a very great experience. It was the Marine Corps was very good to me. Got to see 9 different countries in the world and traveled and set me up with advancement and the ability to believe in myself. And so, yeah, just a really positive experience.
I guess you learned the meaning of discipline.
A little bit, yeah.
I personally can't imagine doing that only because I don't like people to be the boss of me. So
Well,
bad.
there's a big difference when you do it at 18, and
Oh,
now
that's true.
looking back, yeah, there's no way I would ever consider like letting somebody treat me like that.
Yeah, I'm bad about that now, I say. Yeah. Yeah, you must be too. You work for yourself.
Right, there's a
Yeah.
little.
Right. Yeah. The last time I worked for someone, I actually told him, "Hey, pal." I actually called him pal. I said, "Hey, pal, you don't treat me good, and I'm not staying because you're a jerk." Yeah. And he laughed at me, thinking I couldn't get another job.
Hmm.
And he was right. I couldn't, but I didn't need to.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's a place I think entrepreneurs there's a line that if you've built your business to a certain point, you cross this line and you become unemployable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
That's all of us?
well, I think there's some that are really just own their job and then they could go out and get a different job with a better boss, but I think there's entrepreneurs that cross a success line or a line of, I don't know, just that line of responsibility for themselves that looking back that they couldn't work for somebody else.
I think I don't know how you feel about it, but to me, it's been a learning curve believing that I had the ability to earn the money no matter what. Because at first I was thinking it was the company specific that I worked for or worked with because I'm a sales rep. And then I realized, well, that's not really it. I actually have the skills I could transfer. And then I started doing other stuff and then I proved it to myself. But it took a while for me to realize I was building the skills myself. Is that true for all entrepreneurs, you think?
I think so. Not just the skills, but the thinking, right? The way you talk to yourself, the voice in your head, and what you do with those things. I think there's people that have regular jobs that recognize they can do more. They can do some other things with their money and create streams of income that create that freedom that most entrepreneurs are looking for.
Yeah, I know. I like that part the best, the freedom. I suppose who doesn't, but
Well,
yeah, and
I think there's some people that are afraid of the freedom, right? They're afraid of the discipline. They're afraid of having to be responsible for themselves, right? They think that if I work for the job's responsible, and they'll just keep paying me. So there's a big leap
right.
into that freedom of you know I'm responsible for my paycheck, but then I'm also deserving of what I get by serving, and so the more people I serve, the more I deserve.
The other thing, the entrepreneurial mindset. Now, you can tell me if I've got this right or got this wrong, but something I have seen I'm in direct sales, so a lot of the direct sellers, I don't consider them entrepreneurs unless I hear them say, it was my mistake. I'm sorry for that. And I'm so surprised so many times they won't say it. It doesn't even matter if the company, it doesn't matter. if I'm dealing with a customer, I'm sorry, I'll take responsibility for it because I'm the business owner, and so many of them won't do that. And I'm not sure how do you feel about that?
Oh, yeah. So I think it might be chapter 3 or chapter 2 in
Oh,
my
in the
book
new book? Oh,
is
nice.
is
That's what
well,
it's
it's called Own Your Shit. So taking 100.
I love that.
I knew you would. That's why I threw it out there. It's
Oh,
it's
your shit. Oh, I love that. I
it's
love
taking
that.
100% responsibility. No matter what happens in your life, you're 100% responsible. If you get hit
Yes.
by somebody else, you get hit by a car, you still have responsibility because you were on the road in your car. Now, that's not to take
Yes.
away the person's responsibility to pay to fix your car, but it's simply, I'm not going to be a victim, right? It's not that other person's fault.
Yes.
It's not God's fault that I got a flat tire. It's, all the things that happen in our lives. It's easy to blame other people or entities or all of these things. But the truth is, it just is. And I can own it and fix it and deal with it, right? And I think there's a lot of people that don't get to that level of responsibility. And I think ultimately they pay the price in their relationships and they pay the price in their income.
I've got to get my kid to read your book. I was
It's a
trying to
pretty
tell him
simple read.
I was trying to tell him when you get in a car wreck, and as he kept saying to me, I got the right of way, so if he hits me, it won't be my fault. And I said, you know what? You got to quit thinking like that because whether it's your fault or not, you still won't have a car to drive. So
That's exactly right.
you better start driving defensively here.
And you'll understand this thought planting. So as parents and all of our neighbors and everybody we talk to, as soon as our kids get their driving permit and they start driving, everybody says all these negative things. Says, "Oh, get off the sidewalks. Oh, they're going to get in an accident. Oh," and I made a commitment that said, "No, I want my kids to be the best drivers in the world. I want my kids to believe that I believe in them." And so I am constantly telling them, "Look, you're going to be a great driver. You're doing a great job. In fact, I trust you so much. I want you to drive every single day, no matter where we go, no matter what we're doing, no matter what time it is, no matter what highway we're on, you are driving." And I wanted them to get that experience, but also that encouragement that says, "No, I believe in you. I don't want you to go out and wreck the car." Because what happens? These parents tell their kids, "Oh, you're gonna be a terrible driver. You're gonna wreck the car." And then what happens? They wreck
Right,
their
they
car.
do. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And I think I did that to a point.
Well, I wish I could have done it in every area of their lives, but that was one area that I was committed to definitely being that positive, encouraging voice and saying, "No, you're going to be a great driver." And I, of course, I want to be that kind of dad. And now my kids are both adults and thankfully have a great relationship with them. And they're doing okay, right? They're adulting. They're not coming back and living in my house yet. That's still an opportunity, but
No, and the car thing was hard, and we're not done yet. They have you do a whole bunch of stuff here. Yeah, that drives me a little crazy, but no, my kid's actually doing a really good job. So I'm pretty psyched about the whole thing.
yeah.
So I
Well,
saved my old car for him. That's been a struggle too, is keeping the old car going.
and
So.
are you going to leave it wrapped or are you going to?
No, I took the wrap off. I should've. He wants me to take the plate off because my plate says Avon on that car, and I said, "Oh, no, pal, no. It stays on there till you can afford to put the car in your name and get your own plate. So
Yes.
you gotta be able to get some moolah going in here." So, but, I said, "Most kids don't get a car." So, I didn't
That's
get no
right.
car. My daddy didn't give me no car. No, but it's a 10-year-old car. It's not bad. It doesn't have that many miles. It's 50,000 miles. So
That's not bad.
no, I thought that was a lot better than starting with no car.
That's exactly right. Yeah. It's challenging the whole car insurance, all of those things adds up
Oh,
in a hurry.
yeah. Well, and he passed the written right away. That was awesome. He's funny like that. He always says to me, he's not smart. And I said, no,
Mm.
that's if you really were stupid, we'd be patting your head and going, well, I guess that's all we can expect from Alex. I said, we all know you're smart. That's the problem. You know what I mean? We know you're choosing not to do the work instead of being stupid. We know, we're not that dumb. So he passed that written in 6 minutes. It was crazy fast, but it was multiple choice, which is awesome. I do that too. I take a stab at it, and then if I don't pass, I study. I'm so bad. But anyway, and unfortunately, he learned that from me. But the drive-in, we got up there to do that last Friday, and the test guy had a trainee with him.
Oh,
And when I saw
gotta
that,
do it perfect.
right, when I saw that, I went, "Oh, I hope this works. I hope this works." As I walked away, because they don't let the parent do it, be in the seat anymore. I felt bad for the guy though, because I'm not Barbie. I think we all can agree on that. This guy made me look like Barbie. He
Uh-oh.
was he was generously proportioned. I have a little Dodge Caliber, and he said, "I'm going to be riding in the back seat." And I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And yeah, of course, he didn't pass him. So now we got another one for this Friday, another test, and we're hoping no trainee.
I Part of me wonders if they fail boys just so that the boys have to think a little, just think a little more than than your typical. Just
Right, right, yeah. Yeah, and my kid said, of course, the drive red guy, my kid said, the drive red guy said, women insurance is more than men's because they put makeup on while they drive. And I said, no, that I said, no, that's not true. It's the highest category in insurance is you.
right.
Right,
Teenage
teenage boys.
teenage boys are definitely far worse drivers than girls.
Right.
Let's be honest.
Yeah. I don't ever put stuff on in the car. Does your wife?
No, well,
No.
not if she's driving. She will if she's in the passenger seat.
No, I don't even then. The
and then
license
and then I and then I hit the brakes so that she,
Oh, that's
it
me.
is. I know, but I
Oh,
like. Why are you putting your makeup on in the car? Come on.
oh. So you're teaching her a lesson? That's
I, maybe,
oh,
or
that,
we're just having fun. Either way,
yeah. Hashtag team single over here. That's why. I don't want to somebody break checking my lipstick.
that's right. Well, we've been together for 31 years, so I think
Oh, that's
she's used to
awesome.
me.
And you guys met at a truck stop.
Oh, you've dug deep.
I, that was fascinating. You got to admit that was fascinating. That was
Well,
awesome. Let's hear it.
obviously,
Let's
we
hear it.
we put it out there. So I'd gotten back from the Marine Corps and was going to visit a friend from high school. Of course, single guy looking, and so my friend from high school was working at the truck stop along with my future wife, and so met them at the truck stop. And then after their shift, said, "Hey, let's go to Denny's." And so we went to Denny's, and then the friend abandoned us, and so my future wife and I sat there chatting for 3 or 4 hours, and then she went home and said, "That guy is really creepy. I'm never going to see him again." And called her. I called her the next day, and my voice redeemed me. She liked my voice over the phone and
Oh,
brought me lunch, and here we
I
are.
told you later about the creepy thing.
Apparently, my voice got us past that.
Oh, that is funny, sad.
Thank you.
Now she must like doing the stuff you like too, because I saw you guys like doing four-wheeling and stuff.
Yeah, well, I definitely do a little more than she does, but we got to test drive the new Ford Bronco in Texas off road because we've
Oh,
ordered one. And then, so I spent one day driving and she spent one day driving it. And um, she was halfway down a hill and the back wheels are coming up off the ground. And she's like, why would anybody do this?
so is she like doing it, or unless you don't know, is she doing it to be a joiner because she loves you, or is she doing it because she actually likes it?
No, she was definitely doing it because she just wanted to be with me.
Okay, yeah, that's all right.
Yeah,
That's all right. Well, as long as you do stuff that she wants to,
we definitely do.
please, thank you.
Yeah, there's a reason we're together for 31 years.
Right.
Because I'm selfish.
That's very good. That's very good. Good point. Yeah, I used to say, you know John David Mann?
Oh yeah.
Yes, you must, because yeah, right. I used to say I wasn't good at being married because I kind of like burned through two already, but I don't say that anymore after talking to him.
Ah,
Yeah,
good for you.
yeah, that's no, it wasn't. It just wasn't a good match. That's all.
It's the
So I had
same.
to release him back to the wild.
It's the same mindset, right? As
Yes.
telling your son, "Hey, you're a great driver." It's the same mindset you're putting out into the universe. If you're
Well,
saying,
I
"I'm a
actually
good
didn't think I
driver,"
was bad at it. I didn't, and no, I didn't think I was bad at it. Actually, I was just saying that kind of, I guess, to be funny.
I
I
don't,
don't know
well, see,
what.
that's what sarcasm does, and we all excuse it and say, "Well, it's just sarcasm." But the truth is, it has the
It
same
burns in
impact.
your. Yeah,
Absolutely,
when you say it being, oh, okay.
our
Well,
words are valuable and powerful.
so what made you decide to finally put your words in a book? Is this your first?
It is my first, and so it was weird. I looked at my calendar between Christmas and New Year's, and I had two meetings, and so I had the whole week open, and I said, I guess I'm going to write a book, and I
You're kidding me.
no, I committed to 6,000 words a day, and and for those 5 days, I just sat in front of my computer and I buckled down and I pretty much knocked out this book, and
Wow.
it's been crazy how well received it's been. In fact, John David Mann wrote a fantastic endorsement for
Oh,
it.
and then of course I ask you if you know him. Oh, I
Well,
should
you didn't know that he wrote an endorsement for my book.
I should have known that though. That's part of
It's
my job.
it's not in
But
there
you
yet.
know,
It just barely. He put it on Amazon. It is on Amazon, but uh,
but you know, I know you through Bob Berg, so I should have known you knew John David Mann, right?
well,
Right.
we both had him on their show. So my wife and I had John David Mann and Anna Gabrielle, and what a their book is fantastic.
Yes,
That
I'm
was
just reading it now.
yeah,
Uh,
that's a really good read. And
and you
then
know, it's not really about marriage, it's about all relationships, I think.
absolutely, yeah, it absolutely applies to all relationships. So yeah, it was so good. We're going to be giving away copies all over the place now that it
That's awesome.
released last week.
I'm still giving away Go Giver ones, the beginning one too. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
just gave someone one last night actually. Yeah,
nice.
right, I know. No, the marriage one, when I'm reading it through my filter because I'm not married, I was thinking this is how I should be treating my kid
Oh, really
instead
good.
of thinking uh, what he does wrong, like doesn't pick up after himself. I should just be thinking about what I appreciate.
Mm, powerful,
That's the same principle, you know.
powerful, but really hard for a parent.
Right. Right. Well, well, and I don't want him to be a slob either, so
Right.
I won't concentrate on that, but I still have to say something about it.
But
Right.
that's so true in any relationship, right? It's so easy to focus on the negative. I think of the Einstein lesson where Einstein writes, 10 equations on the board and he does the last one wrong and the whole class goes, "Oh, you got that one wrong." And he's like, "Wait a minute. I got 9 right." Right? Why are you guys so caught up in the one I got wrong instead of the 9 that I got right? And we really tend to do that. We're right finders, right? We want to find right and we want to correct people rather than celebrate the 9 that they got right and celebrate success. It's so easy to focus on the negatives.
No, that's so true. Sorry, it's just like, wow, that is so true. And most people do that too.
I
Most
think
people
it's
do.
natural. And I don't know if it's part of that hierarchy thing, right? To keep ourselves, level, but that's one of those habits that we definitely have to shift is being able to focus on the positive and celebrating the positive and not get so caught up in the silly little mistakes that are mostly irrelevant.
Right, right. And we don't want people to concentrate on our mistakes. Yeah.
Well, see,
Yes.
that's where, at least on the religious side, right? You want grace. Well, you want grace when it comes to your mistakes, and you want judgment when it comes to theirs.
You know, the three people. Yeah, yeah, I have noticed that. Hey, the other thing I was fascinated by you on, which is a few other things, but you lived in Bogota, Colombia for 8 years
Yeah.
and Costa Rica for a year. How
Yeah,
is that? I've traveled some out of the country, but I haven't lived somewhere else. How is that as an experience?
it was fantastic. Obviously, we're young marrieds, and so starting our family. Our daughter was um, 2.5, 3 when we moved to Costa Rica, and then as we moved there in January, my wife found out she was pregnant with our son, and so she was pregnant basically our whole time in Costa Rica, and we were there to learn Spanish because we'd committed to being missionaries in Latin America, and
Oh,
yeah, it was so immersive. We were part of an institute, and basically we spent 6 hours a day in class learning Spanish, 2 hours napping afterwards because your brain is just fried. and
oh,
and but it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful transition into Latin America because it's Costa Rica is so heavily tourist that there's still a lot of American types of things that can make you feel like you're not completely separated from your former experience, but you're stepping into another culture and starting to experience another culture. And so for our family, it was a really positive experience and set us up for a pretty successful time in Colombia.
yeah, the only thing I even can think of to relate to that is I grew up in New England. Are you familiar with where are you right now?
I'm in Colorado.
Okay. But have you been to New England or?
Our first foray into New England was in the middle of COVID in November of
Oh,
2020. All of our other
okay.
trips had been canceled, and my wife
Oh,
went up to New England, and we did. What was cool is we did 6 states in 4 days, 1,200 miles on the rental car, and you
you should
can't
come here.
you can't do 6 states in
Oh, yeah.
Colorado in 2 days because you can drive.
No.
Our
You
states
here
are
you can. You can
so
probably
big,
do it today.
but we
Yeah.
loved being able to. So we flew into New Hampshire because they had the least restrictions for traveling into,
Yeah.
and so we flew into New Hampshire and zipped down to Boston and spent a day down there, and then Rhode Island. We went and looked at these giant mansions on the beach, and then
Oh, I love that.
Connecticut and did a dinner train ride in Connecticut. My wife really, really loved that. And then we zipped up to Vermont and zipped back over to New Hampshire and then spent some time up into Maine and did some
It's
lighthouses.
beautiful.
And yeah, it
Beautiful.
was, it was, it was, a, I mean, it was just a great, like you said, get to see other humans. But because of COVID, we were just sticking to ourselves and staying in these rinky dink hotels that didn't have lots of restrictions.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, so it was basically our default. We had a cruise that got canceled. We had another experience that we were going to do that got canceled, and we're just like, all right, we got these plane tickets. We're already. Where can we transfer them to at the same price? And New Hampshire happened to be it, and
Well,
so
next time you come here, because I live 18 miles from that airport.
we are absolutely. So there's a NASCAR track just north of there that we'll be going to.
Yes.
It's on our list.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That's not.
I definitely want to come and spend some time hanging out with Lisa.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'd go to the racetrack with you. I've actually never been there. Yeah,
So
imagine
my,
that.
so my wife and I are chaplains with our local racetrack here after we left ministry full time. That's our ministry, is serving the racing community here locally. But really, when I started getting my training and certificates in coaching, the first training was in Orlando, Florida. And my wife said, "Hey, we can watch the race." I was like, "What race?" She said, "Daytona. We'll be in the hotel because we've never been able to watch a race. We work on Sundays and
Oh,
haven't
yeah.
watched and hadn't, yeah, just hadn't." And so she's like, we don't have anything to do on Sunday. We'll be at the hotel already. We can watch the race. I'm like, wait, we're going to be in a hotel in Orlando watching a race in Daytona an hour and a half away. So why don't we go? And so we got tickets to the race, and
Oh,
just
nice.
being there live was like, all right, we need to do this. And so we do about 2 races a year. And our goal is to eventually get to all 32 racetracks that they race
Oh,
at.
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's been fun. And even in COVID, we managed. Texas was the first one that opened up for fans, and so we can drive there. We drove down there to that first race back in July of 2020, and basically still have been able to do 2 a year so far. And this year they're letting fans back in. I think almost 100% across the board.
Yay.
So we
So
should
yeah, when you come to Loudon, though, let me know. I'll come.
absolutely. We would be planning an extra day or two to hang out with Lisa.
Yeah, so the difference, you wouldn't have got this probably just visiting, but people here are, I don't even know how to say, to themselves because we're alone so much because there's not many people. I don't know. Is that it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if you break down your car here, how I used to get help when I was broke and driving the Yugo, I had a hammer in the car. I called it AAA because the men would stop. I opened the hood. I didn't have to hit nothing. I opened the hood and I just looked like I was going to hit it. And men would go, don't touch it. I will fix it. So that's how I got help. But now when I lived down in Gulfport, Mississippi, that was a whole different thing. If they stop to help you up here, you probably should offer them money. And if they don't, they won't take it. But that's what the deal is, you offer, right? Down there, you can't offer money. That's not cool. And you have to go back to their house with them and eat jambalaya and shoot guns in their backyard. So
that sounds like my kind of party. We
this is a whole different thing. Up here, it's really, I don't know, I don't Puritanish. You know what I mean? We're not huggy people. We're not go to my house
so
people.
my Colorado, we got upgraded when we flew into New Hampshire. They upgraded our rental car to luxury car, and I'm like, oh, whatever. So the luxury car turned out to be an Infinity. So I'm thinking, then made by Nissan, no problem. Well,
there's no electric things here.
What Infinity's not electric. It's just their fancy Nissan version. And so I like to get off the road and go a little exploring. Well, it snowed a little, right? So there's snow on the ground, and I got off the road and I just got down this little hill. There's a lake down there. I thought we can get to that little lake. And I got that stupid car stuck because it was rear wheel drive. And I could not get it back up the hill. I got like 10 feet short. We're 2 hours from any town. I had to walk to get the cell phone to work. So it's snowing, it's windy, and I walk up to the highway and get the cell phone to work, and I pay a tow truck $200 just to get out that way. And then I get to the car. I'm walking back to the car, and of course these hunters zip on by in their great big Dodge truck, and they're like laughing at me, and it's got Florida license plates on it. So you're from Florida? I'm like, sure, yeah. Because here I'm from Colorado, we don't get stuck in the snow. I mean, the snow is like, it's snowing right now. It's
here though, there's a thing though, because like I'm not parked in my garage right now because I'm not paved. And it's mud. It's 50 out. So there's a in between because I'll get stuck in the mud as fast as I'll get stuck in the snow.
Yeah, that can happen too. So these fellas it took them 10 seconds. And then of course, I've paid a tow truck to call them back. It's like, all right, he's already an hour on his way. And I'm like, well, take my money. Because obviously you need to get paid too, but so I still paid the tow truck. But it just added to the stories, right? My wife, we're just chill. It was no big deal.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, well, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, it may not have been that awesome, but now I've changed, right? It just is, right? It just is. We got the car stuck. It just is. It slowed down our lighthouse plan because we were going to be, 3 hours later than we would have been. But yeah, I definitely, and I would have been embarrassed, as a younger man and just frustrated and probably angry. And now it was just like, oh, this silly car. I can't believe it.
Oh, so are you? Yeah, you probably haven't heard me say this before, but are you a man village man? Because you were a Marine. You know what that is, a man village man?
Not sure. I want to make sure I'm clear before I commit to myself.
The rules. I don't know if your wife knew, but I didn't know about the man village rules until like maybe 10 years ago. I had no idea that there were all these rules. With the women, we don't have a lot of rules. We can talk in the bathroom. We can spare a square under the stall. There's a bunch of stuff we can do. We can ride two people on a motorcycle without caring. There's a bunch of stuff we can do. See, and I didn't, I had no idea. And I said to my mother, "Did you know about all the rules?" And she said, "There aren't rules. And I said, "Let's ask Scott," because the big rule seems to be no talking in the men's room. So I said to my brother, "Hey, is there any talking in the men's room?" And my brother said, "You know what? Ralph Smith talked 8 years ago in the men's room when we were in Pennsylvania one time. It was so traumatic, he remembered it."
There's very little talking in the men's room for sure, and there's no, you're not allowed. There's only you only have there's a limitation to where you're allowed to put your head without being weird.
But what about the spare square thing? That's one of the weirdest ones.
If it's bad, yeah, obviously I think you could ask, but it's a risky conversation.
But see, why? See, the thing I don't get about it is, it seems to me all of it is so that people won't think that you're gay by mistake if you're not.
It might be.
But see, in the women's room, I don't think we care as much because I don't know.
Well, and it's the least. Yeah, I don't know. It's
care.
crazy. Like in the Marine Corps. So.
Oh, that must have been even up a notch from normal.
Oh no, actually, it was down because.
Oh really?
So there were no stalls, there were no walls, so we had a wall of urinals and a wall of toilets all in the same room.
Oh, see, that would not be my cup of tea either.
It's not most people's, but when we got back from a hike or a run, and they pump us with water, we're just constantly pumping water. So everybody had to go so bad that we'd run in and there'd be four of us around one toilet. So there was no, all those rules went out the window because
and you would have thought it would have been the other way because
and that happens a lot. In Korea, we put two guys in a sleeping bag, and you can talk all you want. There's no fear of whatever because we're trying to survive, and the ground is frozen and we're frozen, and the captain said we could only have one sleeping bag per foxhole, but it's too dang cold to not be in it. So we're both getting in it.
Yeah. Move over, pal.
Sometimes there can be rules, but sometimes there's a lot of unspoken ways of breaking them.
Yeah. No, that's actually good news. I was afraid it was like even worse in the Marine Corps. Because see, my problem with the whole thing is if everybody is wasting that much, or I shouldn't say wasting, spending that much focus of their life making sure that other people don't by mistake think they might be gay, right? Why aren't they spending that much time so people don't think they're stupid?
Maybe those two go together.
Because I only found out about the rules because of that guy, the senator in the Minneapolis airport lost his career, his family, his job, and everything because he tapped his foot in the men's room. And evidently that's code for, I want to hire a prostitute or something.
Oh, I have no idea.
Me either. So, but I'm telling you, he was an old man. An old woman could do that in the woman's room. She could just actually wave money around and yell it out. We wouldn't care. We might snicker and leave, or I don't know, but we're not wrecking her career or anything over it, or definitely not her life or anything. You notice there's no sting operations in the women's room.
I hope there's not very many in the men's room either, but
no, they have to.
The biggest sting operation I see is, watching whether men wash their hands or not, right? I think there's a high percentage that just don't
know.
See, these are things you just don't want to know.
Because I mean, you guys have a handle that you're holding on to.
Exactly.
I'm not necessarily handling mine. Wow, this conversation went downhill fast.
See, when it boils down to it, no matter where you're from, you're still a little redneck.
Yeah. Of course, you're right in my zone here, the redneck zone. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You don't know. You don't know. They make fun of me on I got a trip coming up for the company, and they kind of make fun of me over it on the trips. Because even still, after all these trips and all the stuff we've done, we go in the Waldorf Astoria in New York, and I'm like, oh, look, there's a fountain. Yeah, that's right. I still do that.
Well, but that's just appreciating, right? Beauty and cool, cool
Right.
stuff. Go for it. One of the first places I got to visit was Egypt. I spent 30 days in the desert between Alexandria and Cairo, and got to visit the beach in Alexandria and swim in the Mediterranean. But then also spent a day in Cairo and saw the pyramids. And for me, even at 19, I was like, holy smoke, these things are fascinating and ginormous. And like,
Wow.
that's a tomb for one dude, like all the labor and all the things that happened for that one.
Guy.
I was just in awe. And all these other guys are like, I don't get it. Like, oh my gosh, you're just completely like,
that took them
it's
decades to make, right? Decades to make.
At least, if not centuries. Like, it'd be hard to build today with our technology. Like, crazy. And so for me, it was just uber fascinating, and just, I was overwhelmed by just the age and the awe of it. And of course, it was a great big giant tourist trap. And Egypt at the time is still to this day was the dirtiest country I've ever been in. I've been in more than 30 countries.
Well, that's not good. And I would have thought Costa Rica was.
Oh no, it's a tourist country. They understand that they need to keep it. And so Costa Rica, they have those little guys with the trash cans and the brooms. They're paying people to sweep all over Costa Rica. Absolutely.
And Egypt, no.
No, Egypt didn't have anybody picking up. There were just trash everywhere. Yeah, and maybe it's changed. That was a long time ago.
I'm a little afraid to go anywhere on that side because I'm a woman.
Oh, yeah.
Have you run across that part of it where women are treated way different?
Oh, I had friends that were in Afghanistan, and his wife would get assaulted on a regular basis. Like guys would walk. He's holding her hand and walking down the street, and guys would walk by and smack her butt and do things like that. Yeah, there's just the treatment of women in some of these countries is incredibly crazy. Like,
wow.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's inhumane. It's not even. It's heartbreaking.
It's just one of these things. As a woman, I don't understand how we're a person too.
Oh, well, right. Well, and I'm still, I still wrestle with the whole idea that there's not this equality, and it's, it seems so natural, and yet, women still are, left out of positions of leadership. They're left off of boards in certain organizations and not given the voice that they deserve. And so I'm all for, lifting up women, keeping them, getting their voice heard and getting their voice, equal, at least getting equal representation to speak at the table.
Some of that's the women though. And you said it, they got to own their shit because, because me and Jeff West are writing a book actually about not being a financial dependent. I don't have a title, but that's what because too many women are happy to be financially dependent on someone else. And you can't do that and have the things that you want to have. You can't be on a board and not take responsibility for yourself.
Absolutely. Well, and I think, our culture has created this idealized the stay-at-home mom. And the challenge with that stay-at-home mom is that we set that young woman up for.
Well, that's too risky. And
absolutely. Right. They're dependent on the income. They're dependent on, and then they haven't been employed for a period of time. Oh. And then that guy's like, I'm going to leave you, or, forces her to stay beyond.
Or when a bus hits him, it could be anything. He could be fabulous. Yeah. And that's the whole premise for the book, because I'm an older mom compared to a lot of the moms in my category. And the women a lot of them are stay at home. A bigger percent than I would have thought possible out here are stay at home moms. And they actually say stuff to me like they think I'm out of step with the current things
Mm,
because I'm telling them it's too risky not to be a money earner.
mm.
They think I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm older than them.
Oh,
And like you're taking too big of a gamble. Your odds of having to support yourself are like 90%. You're thinking 20% and it's not, and it doesn't, and they're like, my man's a good man. I'm like, it doesn't even matter how fabulous your man is. It doesn't even, that has is irrelevant. Anything could happen to your man. You have to have the ability to earn the money.
well, and yeah, and just take care of yourself. Both sides of that, right? Obviously, the man can get hit by a bus, but then it also sets them up for the man to take advantage and do things or have them do things that they wouldn't normally have to do or be involved in if they don't,
They
if
have no way to get out of it.
they're dependent, they're stuck. And yeah, that's a great book and a great lesson that needs to be out there more.
Yeah, it's scary how, yeah, I get so much pushback from talking about it.
Well, and
It,
today there's so many options. They don't have to leave the house to generate
I
generate a
know.
huge
This
ton of
direct
revenue.
sales is like the perfect answer, and
They can they can they can generate tons of revenue right now just sitting in
yes,
front of a laptop. And so
yes,
they don't they can be a stay-at-home mom who's generating tons of revenue and probably out earning her husband in a short period of time if she chose to build an online business that way. So yeah, there's no excuse for creating this dependence and getting stuck.
now there's actually a danger in out earning your husband. I found out that.
No, if your husband's a class act, that's not going to be a big deal.
Well, see that, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. No, yeah, because I didn't sign up for being the only bread earner either. I kept when that happened to me, I kept thinking, now I know how a guy feels when a woman does it to them.
Uh,
Because I didn't sign up to be the only person earning money in this. And I didn't expect it. And I bet a lot of men think that too when their wife suddenly doesn't want to work or doesn't work. Yeah.
sure.
So
Well,
the
and the other way around, right? When, for a period my wife and I have gone back and forth. When I was going to school, she was the bread earner. And then for 20 years, I was the main bread earner. And when I started my business, she was the main breadwinner. So, it goes back and forth and together.
you probably negotiated it on purpose.
Well, we've at least we've certainly had conversations, and
Yeah.
for her and I, we're just on a journey together. And so recognizing that this is just part of the journey. And, this last year she had a medical issue that nearly took her life. And
Mm.
she apologized to me. Like, I'm sorry. I'm like, what are you sorry for? She's like, well, this changes everything. I say, it changes nothing. It changes the direction of our journey, maybe, but it doesn't change, the fact that we're on this journey together.
Good for you, though. That's a smart way to look at it.
And,
That's why you've been married so long.
well, that's the commitment, right? I'm so frustrated with marriages where the partners become this. Marriage was never designed to be that. It's supposed to be, hey, it's you and me against the world.
Right.
And if it's you and me against the world, then we have a purpose and a mission, which is also what, most entrepreneurs need is a purpose and a mission. And if they get their purpose right, everything works out. You work it out because you're on this mission.
You got to talk more about your book though, because I'm sitting here because now I just got the book and I haven't read it yet, and I want to read Own Your Shit First.
There you go. Yeah, the first chapter is about the mind, so it's kind of boring, but it just sets the tone for how valuable our mind is, and why thinking can be so challenging is because it's the challenge of understanding that 95% of the decisions and choices we make are made by our subconscious. And if 95% of the decisions are being made by our subconscious, we're not aware of all those choices that our subconscious is making. And so really this is all about, I need to take control of my subconscious and I need to reprogram that sucker to do what I want it to do and make the decisions that I want to make so that I get to where I want to go. And then of course, taking responsibility is really that first big step. But so many people have these thoughts about themselves, about the world, the stories they tell themselves that are limiting and holding them back. Obviously you've had people all around you your whole life telling you, well, that won't work. Well, you can't do that, and and you've got the little bit of rebel in you that says, who are you to tell me no, right? Most people take those things and those thoughts become their beliefs because they repeat it in their head, and they're like, oh, maybe they're right, right? Or a parent has said, well, that'll never work. You can't do that. And they plant that seed, or you're only worth $1,000 a month, right? That's all you'll ever get, and those beliefs get stuck. And until you take the intention of testing where those came from and take the test of how can I change those, right? To free myself, right? How can I believe in myself when nobody around me believes in me? And really that's what the mindset shifts that have to happen. You have to have a different understanding of money and learning, how money really works and what money's really for. Because most people don't know. Most people are working for the money, and the money's not the result.
When did you, because this all of a sudden happened to me where it came to me. And I want to know if you knew this all along, or it just came to you about the whole, it's personal responsibility. Where I am today is my decisions that I made put me here. It all was me all along. It wasn't the economy. It wasn't the other people. That took me a long time. I mean, I didn't get that till mid-20s somewhere.
Yeah, well, I think my faith, my faith journey, as far as learning personal development, as far as teaching people to grow in their faith, which is really taking responsibility, for your life. And I'm not blown about by the winds of circumstances, but really that commitment to studying personal growth and reading James Allen, reading Napoleon Hill, Wallace D. Wattles, and really identifying with how powerful our brain really is. Because even the church has limitations and expectations, and it's an institution that's done so much based on tradition rather than on empowering people. That I want to be the kind of leader that empowers people and lifts them up out of their circumstances, because it all happens right here. No matter what's going on around you, you can make changes in here that change everything.
That is so true. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I had heard it sooner or knew it sooner somehow.
You haven't done so bad.
Thank you. No, but what's funny is I was disappointed in myself when I found out. I'm at the trailer park, broke, driving to Yugo, grinding it out, and I'm like, oh man, I did this to myself. What the hell?
Yeah, but what a huge relief, right? Because now I'm responsible for it.
Well, yes, that's true. Because I went, oh, wait a minute. If I did it to myself, that means that I can undo this.
Oh, so good. See, so many people don't make that leap. They say, I did it to myself, and it's, oh, woe's me, and God hates me, and they stay there. They stay there.
So I wonder what happened with us, where we made that we could help other people make that leap, where you can't help other people make the leap.
I think there's a switch that goes off, and if you manage to flip the switch and truly take responsibility, it changes everything. I think Napoleon Hill goes through his book Think and Grow Rich, saying there's a secret, right? There's a secret that I'm not really going to tell you, but people that are ready for it will get it. And I believe that secret is own your shit. The rest of it is do the process, but it really is. You are responsible, and ultimately you can do it. Wallace D. Wattles just says, do all that you can do each day. Do everything that you can do each day, and you're going to be so much further than most people, right? And so you get this mindset right, you take responsibility, and you do all that you can do each day. And success will come, I promise.
It's hard when I think a lot of the people that I talk with aren't realizing yet, and I try to get them closer to I don't know, and I do it. I tell my story. I try to see how, what I mean, how awesome it is when you take responsibility for everything, but people don't necessarily understand, I think, till they start doing it.
Well, and they don't want to. They're content in their misery.
That's a good point.
They,
I'm even
they
at
love the victim story, right? The victim story makes it everybody else's fault.
right.
I don't have to take
That's true.
responsibility because I can blame all these other people.
Because I'm to the point even where I don't want to inherit money. I don't want to win the lottery because I go stand over by the long side of my lawn, look at my house, and beat my chest because I did that. I did that with my own. I don't want to win the money because it felt so good to earn the money, to have the skills and the brains enough to do it myself. I no longer want to. So I keep saying to people, you don't realize how great this is, that how good you're going to feel until you actually go out and
And just how powerful you
oh
become
yes.
because you could lose it all today
Oh, absolutely,
and you
absolutely.
wouldn't and you might be down for a little bit, but you'd say, I got this.
Right.
You
And
would
it's no longer about the material stuff. That's actually been a lately thing within the last 5 years, right? If I did lose it all, I wouldn't have lost. The only thing that I don't want to lose is like my mind because that would be a problem. But
that well and then you just don't care. So
you don't know, you don't care. But to me now, I couldn't lose it all because I've gained it's the responsibility, the skill set, the right. Yeah, so there's no even if I had to live out of the car again, it would be all right because I know
it
it
wouldn't
wouldn't
be
be
long.
long. Right. It wouldn't be long. Yeah,
It wouldn't.
that's the way it is.
I'm heartbroken for people that are making the choice to sleep in parking lots and to live under bridges. And I realize, yeah, there's a big mental health issue involved, and all of those things aside, for people that are capable making those choices and feeling like they don't have any other option, and and I know the power of our mind, and that
I
they
think some of them could if they just realized that they had the power to be somewhere else. They could do it. Don't you too?
absolutely, and they believe, they're in that lower level of thinking. They're living in shame and guilt, and and they feel like God is against them. And until you take responsibility, until you get above what I call the line of courage, right? The line that you take responsibility and you realize I don't have to be a victim. I'm in control of what happens in my life. I'm responsible for what I have in my life.
Oh, I
And
like the line.
if I don't like the results I'm getting, then I need to change what I'm doing.
I like the line of courage. Ooh, ooh, that's the line where you take responsibility at the line of ooh.
And it changes everything, right? That's that above that line of courage is where joy, peace, love, and all of those emotions are, because now guess what? I'm controlling what's happening to me. I'm not being blown about by everybody's freaking out about what's happening in the world with the economy, with war, with all of these things. And I don't care. I'm not paying attention to any of that, because you know what? It doesn't change what I have to do every day. I still have to do everything I'm doing every day. Why do I need all that negative in my mind, in my head, creating worries that I have no control over? I got to worry about the things I need to do. That's my responsibility. Do what I need to do to take care of the world and help people have a better life.
The add value thing, I love that, and I'm getting tested lately, by the way, because every year I try to be with a new group of people because the only way my business is going to grow is I meet new people. So this year, I joined a committee in town to do a event that my property happens to be the site of the Pine Tree Riot. That was one of the Revolutionary
It
War
looks
things.
like it's so fun.
Oh, it is. But see, what my challenge is here is I spoke up and said, you know what we ought to do for the centerpiece is have a play. And I have no theater knowledge or any of that stuff, but they act like it's like my idea that, right. So I'm like, let's base it on Connie's book. She's in town. She wrote a play. And so I have been making the connections and it's all happening. But when it comes down to it, I kept thinking, how am I adding value to this? I've got to find a way to add value because that was the whole point, is to add value. So I can't act, I can't direct, I can't do any of those things. So you know what I'm ended up being is like the snack lady. And I copied the scripts and had them in little notebooks. And when I offered my house to do the rehearsals.
But see, you've
And
added value just by creating it, by bringing all of the pieces together and making it happen is adding value. And
well, and when they come in the door, I'm trying to know their name and say, I'm glad you came today. Thank you. I'm trying to add value that way because I'm not an actor or director. I don't have any of those skills. So I've had to really think about how I can add value. And it's been a good humbling experience, by the way.
I love it.
Because
But
usually I'm the boss.
the bigger piece that you need to give yourself credit for is recognizing that you had an idea and then you have no idea how to do it, no idea how to do any of those pieces. And yet you recognize that you had control to do something about it. Where most people get an idea and they say, I don't know anything about that. That'll never work. And they give up
No,
versus taking the idea and saying, who do I know? Who can I connect to? Who can I find? Who can
I feel better about this.
So you're absolutely taking that idea and making it real because you made a few connections and you made a few calls and you said, oh, how could we do this? Instead of saying that can't be done, you ask yourself, how could we do this? Right. And how could we do this brings out so many more opportunities.
No, and thank you, because I hadn't thought of it that way. It felt more like I blurted something out and it got on a life of its own.
But that's what ideas do.
Right.
That's what ideas do. And
And the
so
other
many people kill them.
And the other people were saying stuff, and I didn't realize I was doing it at first. But like when I said, "Hey, Connie, you wrote a book. Why don't we do a play on your book?" Connie said, "It has to be a script." And I'm like, "Well, wait a minute. The teacher down the school, I heard her say something about script writing. Let me introduce you to her, and you two write a script together." And they did. They got together and wrote the script. But I didn't think about it as being me. But I guess I connected them. Right.
You
So I was
honored
just trying to solve the problems as they were coming up.
but you honored the idea. And rather than thinking that these problems were all overwhelming and couldn't be done, you're saying, oh, we just got to do this and we do this and we do this.
Yeah.
And it comes so naturally because that's what you are as a problem solver and a creator. And creators allow the ideas to take root. And instead of saying, oh no, that can't be done, you say, well, how can we?
This has been wicked fun, by the way.
I'm glad.
And I
Me too.
took a picture last night of coming in my yard because I had 25 people come into my house 3 times a week. It's hilarious because there's just all these people, and my neighbors must be thinking she's doing parties every night over there. Look at that.
Yeah, but your neighbors are a little further away than most. And so it's not like you're bringing 30 people into the cul-de-sac.
That's very true. That's very true. Yeah, my neighbors are looking with their binoculars down the road. So when you come up, you'll see.
Absolutely.
Did you see one of the? It doesn't say who it is because they have to agree to StreamYard, but it says Robert is truly one of the class human beings in the world today. That is awesome. Did you pay your? Is that your wife? Did you pay your wife?
I think she's at work, so I don't know.
No, that's awesome. So did you guys go through John Maxwell, or was that you or her?
Both, yeah, we both did.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. How was that experience?
Oh, it's fantastic. Like obviously John has brought together a world-class team of teachers and trainers and they have more material than any human being could ever go through in a lifetime. And so there's plenty of reinforcement to the teaching and constant opportunity to learn. They've just created something pretty fantastic, I think.
He's an awesome speaker. We just saw him at something. Yeah. I saw him online. I shouldn't say I saw him in person. He was at one of the conventions of the companies I rep for, and he was very good.
Yeah, obviously he's an incredible speaker. He's an incredible teacher, incredible author, and he really created the John Maxwell team to leave a legacy, right? To train and equip, thousands and thousands of people to keep teaching his teachings even after he's no longer with us.
Oh, those words are from Bob Berg. There you go.
Wow.
I know. That's awesome.
Thank you,
awesome. Bob is so awesome. He always he listens and he always says nice stuff when we're on the Go Givers Alliance call.
I
It's so awesome.
Bob is amazing, and so I had a great. Bob was on my show too. So yeah, just fantastic. And of course, because of Bob, I met you. Because of Bob, I met John David Mann. I met Jeff C. West. I mean, so many great relationships and connections that have
Well,
happened.
you know that Go Giver Success Alliance, I don't know if you're doing that yet, but that has been the best thing that I've done in years because I just have the people I've met and they're at a much higher level of performance than I'm at. So I feel,
That's saying a lot.
well, I mean, I need that. I need to be around people like that so that I don't slack off so that I'm, although Bob says I'm slacking off because I was number 4 in the country and now I'm 5. He likes to kid me about that.
Man,
But, I know. But I am so happy to be part of that group and I've made some really good friends. I think it's just been great, been fabulous. So yay. Now we're at the end of our time, so I don't want to infringe on your time more. I really so appreciate you coming on here. I want you to give one more plug for your book, but and then I need to ask you one question after that. So if you could tell people how can they get your book and what it's called, so they
so
get the one.
it's the Entrepreneur Mindset Shift,
Nice.
and it is available on Amazon. If you want a signed copy, you need to order it from my website, which is right down below. Add value the number 2 life.com. And yeah, it's really just to help people recognize the places where their thinking might be holding them back and giving them some small tools to help shift their thinking. It's an airplane read. You can read it on an airplane ride and really just take action in your life to change your thinking, which, you know, as Norman Vincent Peale says, change your thoughts, change your world. And so I've
I know
truly.
which chapter I'm reading first. You know
What are you reading first?
which chapter I'm reading first. You
Oh
know.
yeah, you're gonna read Own Your Shit. I used a dollar sign. I gotta show you. So I didn't cuss really in the book. So um, wait, where is it? Oh, here it is.
I love that. You knew I would.
So I used a dollar sign.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, and the mindset shift is really a dollar sign
Dollar
too.
sign. No, that's awesome.
Well, so one of the biggest issues is so many people are afraid to say they want to make money. And so the first thing, this is a book about being able to free yourself to say, I want to make money. You can blow smoke up everybody's tail and say, I want to save the world. I want to raise, but all of those things, you know what they
Take
need?
money. They
They need
take
money.
money.
So
Yeah.
make the money first and then do all those other things and save the world. But at least be honest with yourself and say, I'm in business to make money. And it's okay.
Oh, I know I'm going to love this book. I love this book already. I'm
Well, I'm
going
excited to hear your review. And so I hope you can read it on your flight to
Yes, I
Hawaii land.
was just going to say that. I've got a long flight. I'm going to do that on the way to Hawaii. So my last question, and then I'll let you go. But thank you so much. So every guest, I send them a goodie at the end. And would you like cookies, sea salt caramels, or brownies?
I guess we'll have to go with cookies.
Oh, okay. You're a cookie man. Oh, that's okay. Yay. There's I think it's there's some choices in the cookies, but you'll have to take what I I'll try to think an exotic. How about the macadamia nut ones?
Or if you want me to share with my wife, avoid nuts. That's
Oh, she doesn't like nuts. Okay. Okay. And I do want you to share with her because yeah, she's in on the journey.
or oats.
Oh, no oats either?
Yep.
Okay.
See, the window narrows quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's pumpkin cookies.
Maybe.
Oh,
Somebody will eat them. Don't worry. I got a
okay.
5-year-old grandson here. The cookies don't last.
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah, what are we thinking? You're not getting any cookies anyway. You got grandkids. Yeah, once the box comes, they're not yours, really. So thank you so much. And whatever I can do for you, you please let me know. And I'm going to end the recording, but stay right there for a second. We'll be in the green room, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you, Lisa, so much.
Thank you.